Okay, today I'm going to show you how to take outlining notes for a topic when you want to maintain parallel structure and you also want to ensure that you're satisfying all the requirements of the rubric. So first, you want to have four things open. You want to have haiku opened, you want to have your document, the note-taking suggestions, and then the rubric. Okay, because again, this will determine what you're trying to do. Okay, first, the document. You want to name your document. In this case, we are doing now notes, outline notes. And we're looking at four topics here. We're looking at wealth, race, careers, friends, and careers. Okay. First step we do is put our name. So Eric Burnett, the date, which is September 25th. The period 3. So down a couple lines, and you're going to have so many different documents throughout your school experience. You want to make sure everything's properly labeled. And again, this was outline notes, wealth, race, friends, careers. Now, eventually, you're going to be looking at these articles on Haiku, and you're going to be taking specific examples and relevant information and putting it into the correct outline category. Okay, so if you look at all these articles, there's probably about 20 articles here. So we want to have a nice structure where we know what we're looking for. So I'll look back at what my suggestions were. I want to summarize first. When I have categories, I want to ensure they have verbs in them, that they use positive and negative language, I use vocabulary, and then I have parallel structure. Okay, so I can actually create my categories right now. So I have two basic categories that I'm working on. Okay, the first one is groups you're born into, and these are groups you join. Now, this is the first time we've actually looked at groups you've joined. To this point, we have done groups you're born into, we've done TCK, we've done birth order, we've done gender, we've done introvert, extrovert, we've done parenting styles, and geography. Okay, so we've done these so far. Now we're going to add 4 more to this list. Now these 4 we're not actually doing. So the 2 we're going to do that you're born into, which you don't control, is you're born into a level of wealth and you're born into a particular race. Now later we'll talk about what is this thing called race, because many people argue if this thing called race even exists anymore. Okay, 2 groups we looked that we're joining. If you look back up at the top, your friends and your career. You choose these things. Now, I understand that in some societies you do not choose your friends or your career, but we're going to assume that you do have full control over your friends and over your career. Now, when I say career, I mean your job. I'm a teacher. Another career would be doctor, lawyer, investment banker, chef, travel agent, whatnot. Okay, those are careers. Okay. Now, so far, you can see I have a relative parallel structure. Everything's nice and balanced. I have 2 topics here, 2 topics here. Now, if I look back at this, suggestions, I keep going back and forth. I want to make sure I do a definition and a summary before analysis. Definition and summary before. Okay, so I'm going to, for each of these, I'm going to have a definition and a summary. Definition, summary. Now you're seeing I'm retyping every time. I can actually, to make things easier, copy, paste, and paste. Okay, so I then want to kind of keep a relatively parallel structure for my different traits I'm going to analyze. So I'm going to take care of the verb thing. One thing about groups, which identity traits we've talked about so far. We've talked about with identity how when you join a group, you take on the traits of the group. Okay? You also are influenced to behave a certain way by the group. Now, if you remember, one of our rules was to have less than 7 words per line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I take this off, I still have my verbs. Okay. And lastly, you're perceived differently by outsiders. These are people outside of the group. They start to look at you a certain way. Okay, now what this means is, let me explain this again. When you take on the traits of the group, for example, I'm going to take these three and add it down here for career. Okay, for example, I am a teacher. So if I take on the traits of the group, there are traits that teachers have. Let's say one of the traits teachers have is that they enjoy spending time with children. Okay, if I join the group of teachers, all of my lunchtime conversations before school, after school will be about spending time with children. Okay, now an outsider might see that and have opinions about that, either positive or negative. Traits about the fact that I'm a teacher and I like to spend time with children. Okay. Now, once I'm in the group, let's say that one of the behaviors that my group does, let's just say that, again, the example is teacher. One of the behaviors we do is that we answer emails all night long. So I've worked at one school where you answered emails all night long, and so that's something that I did. I worked at another school where after you leave at 4 o'clock or whatever time you leave, you do not answer emails. So again, the group would influence the way I behave. Okay, I know I have some former students who are investment bankers, and they work 70 to 90 hours a week in their 20s, and that is, so the trait they take on would be, you could call it workaholic or overworking. They would call it dedicated, and the behavior would be that they would spend countless hours at their job. Okay, now, so I want to take these traits and copy them. And so you see my parallel structure forming already. Now, another thing a lot of you didn't have is if you look at the suggestions, one thing you didn't do is you didn't judge the document. You didn't analyze the document. So I'm going to have a little section here I'm going to put in right away where I analyze the documents. Okay. And I'm going to actually separate everyone else, document analysis. And as I introduce each document, I'm going to actually analyze it to see if it's valid or not. And again, the most valid documents are those from sources where they have their credibility to lose. Educational sources, universities, if they turn out to be lying, that would destroy the credibility of the university. Existing newspaper agencies who see themselves as being credible would lose credibility if they lie. Whereas, let's say a high school student who writes a blog post has little to lose with their credibility. Okay, so document analysis. Also, something we look at is there any bias? Does that mean, is this organization trying to actually have you believe a certain way? If they are, let's say one of the things they believe is that all people should wear mushrooms in their hair. So if they have a bunch of articles stating that you should wear mushrooms in your hair, you need to wonder, maybe this isn't actually a neutral statement, maybe this is biased. Okay, so document analysis. Now you go to your documents. So I'll pick any of these. So let's say I'll just pick this one, Journeys to School. So I'm looking at this document, and I'm wondering again, it was under wealth. So when I'm reading it, I'm now reading it looking for 4 things. How does wealth influence my identity? How do you take on the traits of the group? How do you behave a certain way? And how are you perceived differently by outsiders? Okay, so I'm looking at this, I'm scanning it. This is about school being in session. I look at the category, most dangerous and unusual journeys to school in the world. I'm looking at a lot of times the first sentence of a paragraph because that's my topic sentence usually. Connecting children to schools has slowed down over the past 5 years. So progress, it looks like we're not connecting children to schools. Areas lack suitable routes, can often flood. It's harder for kids to get to school. Okay. So, here we go. Dangerous paths are one of the main reasons why many children decide to quit school. So, right now we have a way that your wealth can impact you. So I'm going to actually I'm going to do behavior of wealthy and behavior of poor. Now, it's a huge generalization of wealthy and poor. 7 billion people you can't put into 2 categories, but just to start an argument, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and actually I will do this for all of them. Once I think I have a good category, I'm going to create a parallel structure, and this makes it easy, you'll see in a bit, to actually start filling in information. Okay, so I'm looking at my pictures. Okay, so I see these kids are walking along a cliff. It looks like they could possibly fall off. That's amazing to me. This kid's actually on some sort of horse creature walking on a cliff. There's a kid again. These kids are climbing wooden ladders up a cliff to get to school. So obviously there's a reason why my teacher chose this website. So something about these. Okay, these kids go through Himalayan mountains to get to school. Obviously it's going to be a long trip. This bridge where they're walking on the outside of it's actually a broken bridge. You can see the bridge, the whole right side of it's gone. And so they actually have to just walk on the railings. This kid takes a cable across a river in Colombia. Okay. Okay, so now there's what is in the document, what I see, and then what I can also imply. So I can see behave a certain way by the group. I can see that these poor children, the way they behave is that they have to struggle to attend school. Okay, I'm actually going to do a category called children. Children struggle to attend school. Okay, and I'm going to give some examples. And some examples will be there was the broken bridge. They have to cross mountains. Now see, this is verbs, so I'll do a verb here. They have to cross broken bridge, go over mountains. Let me see if there are other ones. Going through rainforests, they're out in nature. Okay, so they're out in nature, this person's on an animal, they're crowded together. Okay, so I see a few things from this. They're walking, they're together a lot. Okay, and let's say they're packed on buses. Okay, so there's some examples. Now, I remember one of the things this said was positive and negative connotation. Remember it said positive, negative language? So I'm going to do the challenges of going to school like this, and I'm going to look at the benefits. So a benefit of actually that, going to school, is that you're in nature. You're also walking, so you're healthier probably. You're also in crowds, so you're probably more social. Challenges is danger, obviously. So this is potentially, so you're in crowds, bad weather. That could actually be unhealthy. And it's going to take a long time. So what? It takes a long time, which means less time for studying or for activities. Okay, now I prefer it doesn't go on a second line, less time studying activities. Okay, so that's just this one. Now, one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to do a analysis of the document. So let's look where this document's from. This is Bored Panda. So Bored Panda. Now what is Bored Panda? So when I want to find out what it is, I click on all this and delete it. And I have Bored Panda. And I look what else they have here. I look on the right side, travel photographs. I made a person heels to match the dress I made. So this looks like just a bunch of relatively random pop culture. And I don't know if there's a high level of criticism to determine what is posted here. It looks like really anything that might catch your eye is posted here. In fact, it's called Bored Panda. So I'm going to put down here, Bored Panda.
Yo, you're a Niners fan, right?
Yep, hold on a second. I'm doing a video podcast, so I'll tell you later. So Bored Panda. It looks like it's just a website to publish random pop culture images. But they are images appear reliable. I'm going to put appear because I don't know for sure. Now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose something here. I'm going to take this. This is the next level. I'm going to color code this. I'm going to color code this red. And I'm going to take all of this information here and also color it red. Okay, just so that I know that that all came from here. Now I don't have any quotes here. I don't have any connect. Oh, I can make a connection. Okay, so case study Nichidatani. So I could actually analyze Nichidatani, but it's no longer red. This is now, I'm going to have a new color, which will be, let's say, green. I'm going to make down here green, Eric Burnett. Teacher, ISB, with 2 high school children. Okay, so that just shows if I have any expertise at all. It's not a high level of analysis, but it's just very basic, just showing at least and analyzing a little bit. Okay. It's showing my kids have to walk to school 5 minutes, and they complain, and they've even been late to school. So this shows that they have low comfort zones, and they are entitled. A frustration that I have. And I'm guilty of it. I'm their parent, so I put them in this world, so I should have parented better. Okay, Nichidatani children. Okay, so that right there is insight. So I'm on the right track. So if you were to look at right now, the rubric. Okay, comprehensive evidence. I've only looked at one article. Range evidence. Do I have any statistics? No. Vocabulary? No. Key individuals? No. Dates? No. Locations? No. I have done source details. That's good. I have no quotes. I have insight from myself. Now my organization is great. I have good categories. I'm logical, 7 words or less, 5. All this is great. Okay, my categories actually would be excelling. Okay, the way I'm analyzing everything, because I'm doing the verbs, I'm doing positive, negative, so that's in good shape. So let's now look at another document. Let's say you've divided up in your group and someone else is doing friendship and peer influence. Now again, I want to go back to my categories, friendship, friends. I'll give a definition of how friends affect you, take on traits of a group, you behave a certain way, and you're perceived differently. So let's look at this. I'm going to close this up. Okay. I'm going to look first of all at the headlines. Friendship, peer influence, and peer pressure in the teen years. Facts about friendship, peers, and adolescence. Okay. So again, I look at topic sentences. Adolescence is a time when peers play an increasingly important role in the lives of youth. Parents and other adults can become concerned when they see their teens becoming preoccupied with their friends. In actuality, peer influence is more complex than our stereotypes of the peer influence. Okay, so look at here. Now, whenever I see like a first, that means they're going to tell me something that's important. They're going to have like a first and a second. Peer influence can be both positive and negative. Well, we tend to think that influence leads teens to engage in healthy and safe behaviors. It can actually motivate youth to study harder in school, volunteer for, oh, look at this. See this magic commas here? This is good. Okay, so look what I'm going to do here for this article. Okay, negative and positive. Again, I like that. Behave a certain way. Negative. Positive. Now, I've got a couple choices here. I could take this entire thing and list this, but this is really long, and I actually want to break apart the 3 items they have. And the 3 items were unhealthy and unsafe behaviors, motivate youth to study harder, volunteer for community service, participate in sports. Okay, so there's 4 things here, and let's see if I can remember them. One was positive, get involved in activities. And the reason I'm doing it like this is I'm not copying it. Better grades, try for better grades. What else did they have? Community service, study hard, unsafe. Actually, 1, 2, 3. So it had 3. Study harder and join community service. Now, some of you wonder, why do I have, why do I start with verbs? Well, later on when you go to write essays, you could basically turn these into sentences. Friends can positively affect you by getting you involved in activities, helping you try for better grades, and helping you join. So basically, if you have verbs, you really, later on when you turn this into a paragraph, you're in good shape. Okay. So, okay, so here's an opinion. This is good. In fact, most teens report that peers pressure them not to engage in. Okay, so this is a report. So this is actually a good opinion. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to another positive. Okay, now I need to put this in quotes. Now this comes from a different document, and I'm going to color this document orange. Okay, and what was the document called? It was University of Nebraska. Okay, so University of Nebraska is my orange. University of Nebraska, and I want to find out when was this published. Usually it's at the very end. 2007. Okay. So this is University of Nebraska 2007. 2007. Quite credible source. It's a university. And they have a lot to lose. It's not just that, but they also are what it's called peer-reviewed. Peer-reviewed research. Others have reviewed this to make sure it is appropriate. So this is, again, what color was this? This was orange. And this is one way. So now I have some information about that. Negative. Now I have a couple choices. I can keep reading this. But you're seeing how this is gradually increasing in size. Now, when you read documents like this, you need to look at the boldface words, subheadings, because it's really hard to read these large ones. Parent relationships are not necessarily undermined by peer relationships. While it seems that teens are influenced by their peers, parents continue to be the most influential factor in their lives. So that's good. I can use that as a quote later on. So I can later, underneath it is all the examples that explain it, but the boldface part looks like are your main points. Parent and adolescent conflict increase between childhood and early adolescence, although most families, its frequency and intensity remain low. Okay. Now, effective strategy for coping with pressure. This is not really relevant for what I want to do. Parents need to continue to communicate. Teens often have multiple layers and groups of friends. Peer friendships are dynamic. Peers tend to choose those who are similar to themselves. Peer friendships can be a healthy venue for positive youth development. Okay, so I have some facts here I can put in. Okay, so, but again, I'm not just going to put in random things. I need to put in something from one of my categories, which was behave a certain way, take on the traits of the group, proceed differently with outsiders. Okay, so I'm going to just show you one more document. I could add on to this one a little further, but I just want to show you that. Okay, now let's say I do what your career says about you. This fearlesslifecoaching.com. So usually when things load, I'm kind of looking up here already to see what's going on. What does your career say about you and your self-worth? Hint, nothing. Part 1, careers as identity. Are you what you do? Okay. Okay, I'm trying to look at this. Beyond the vast amounts of time we spend working, our jobs can become our identity in other interesting, if not cultural ways. Okay, our career, jobs, and titles become a proxy for determining if we're superior to others. So it's a way of seeing if we're superior to others. He who has more worth wins. Size means think about the last time you met someone. How long has it been before you engaged? Okay, so doing a little cognitive fair. Okay. So with just a little bit of information, we size of the competition, doing little calculations to figure the competence, power, influence, success, lifestyle, and so on. Okay, so just by asking what you do, it determines all of these traits. So that's really important. That's a great quote. Okay, this is what others think about you. So now look where I'm going to put this. It's a different place. So I go to my outline notes. This is now career. Okay, others ask what do you do? Okay, and from this answer, they get all of this. Okay, and I'll put that in quotes, and I'll make sure I change the fonts are all the same. Arial 11, Arial 11, boldface. Okay, now again, where did I get this from? This is from another source. This Fearless Life Coaching. This Fearless Life Coaching. This Fearless Life Coaching. Okay, and what year is it? All the way down to the bottom, 2016. Let's look at the top, 2016, by Neil Berkins. 2016. Let's see who this guy is. June 2016. Neil Berkins. Who is Neil Berkins? Now, all this analysis I'm doing right now of Neil Berkins, Where are you, Neil? He's a leadership coach. Neil Burskins. He's a leadership coach, so he does this for a living. B-E-U-R-S-K-E-N-S. B-E-U-R-S-K-E-1-N. Okay, and for everything from Neil Burskins, it's going to be the color red. Nope, can't do red. Already did red. Ooh, I'm going to mix it up and have it be purple. Okay, so this is purple. Now, I haven't done my insight in a while, so I'm going to go do that. You know what? Actually, let's see if I can think of one from a move. Let's see. Let's look at a TV show. Let's see. It's hard to just think this way. So I'll think of a show I saw recently. Spider-Man, and the mom was a single mom. No, I can't use that. Tony Stark. Okay, so Tony Stark. Let's say Tony Stark. So I can make a case study. Tony Stark. Now again, this is green. This is my personal insight case study. Tony Stark, rich millionaire. My assumption is, based on the fact that he's wealthy, he's also going to be intelligent. He's going to be powerful. He's going to influence a lot of people. And in fact, heavy influence, he's the leader of the Avengers. And he has, let's see, a strong group of friends. He's also very popular. And he's cool, relaxed, mellow. Okay. And I think when other people meet him, they think of those things automatically. If I'm going to the next level, I can do this. I can do quotes. Or opinions about Tony Stark. Opinions of Tony Stark. The problem is, if you look at this, this goes me into just, I'm now getting lost. The Forbes fictional interview Tony Stark. This is like if Forbes had an interview with a person. Billionaire Tony Stark runs Stark Industries, a large aerospace and defense contractor. He is also the armored superhero known as Forbes breached conflict. What makes you a hero, not a vigilante? Perspective in the mansion's most perspective. Do you ever feel like you were being an arms deal? No. Do you ever feel like you were being a public? Why don't you give all the superheroes armor? Give me $40 pursuit per super, and I absolutely will. Okay, so what's the key to being a successful CEO? Delegating in a gray tuxedo. Okay, I guess I could put that into. So I say they can dress well. And this could be an interview. Fake Forbes. I can put this in quotes. Now this comes from this is now a size 11, Arial, and don't want it too bold. And this is now a new color because it comes from Forbes. Pink. This is now Forbes article. Okay, and we put this in here. Now, I'm going to actually link this one because I haven't used it yet. Oh, because I'm sorry, it wasn't on the Haiku page. Okay, so that right there is you're on your way to having exceptional notes. So if you look at this, this is into the excelling range. Okay. Okay. Okay, and that is all. Key thing is, keep going back to your suggestions. I have these internalized already. I have a personal life connection. I have a connection to a movie. I have not done this yet. I could, so watch this. I can go back in here. And I can do this, and I can do a prediction. Now it's my prediction. So future prediction. Children more resilient. And then I go down to my niche at a ton example, future prediction. They're going to be teacups easily broken. Okay, and so that's when your prediction. Let's see what else. Theories for human behavior. Okay, so why, and I could say reason why. Why? Parents avoided conflict. So I just didn't want to basically argue with my kids, so I avoided conflict. And so I can talk about that. Why? Okay, now I'm getting into the range where all these things are being covered. Okay, I included another article I researched. I have quotes from a source, an expert opinion. Okay, so that is how you can take notes. Okay. Put that out.